Dallas Cowboys, almost like they were trying to prove a point that we don't need Micah Parsons, went heavy into edge rushers. Caleb Downs, the best safety, and edge rushers. And I liked it. This is why I totally supported the Micah Parsons trade that everybody went nuts over. And I said, if you sign Micah Parsons with CeeDee Lamb and Dak, you have no flexibility. Since the Micah trade, and remember, they brought Micah in, right? They drafted him. They found out very early. They tried to put him at linebacker. Couldn't do it. Against the run, Micah wasn't any good. Micah is an edge rusher. You need him on a team playing with a lead in the fourth quarter. That's why I thought Green Bay was a great fit. They lead most of their games fourth quarter. See ball, see quarterback, go get him. Micah's great. Dallas is not that team yet. What Dallas needed was flexibility. And since that trade, Dallas now, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, Caleb Downs, overshown if he can stay healthy, much more flexible, much better against the run, and multiple inexpensive edge rushers. That is why you made the trade. That is why I defended the trade.
All right, let's be clear from the start. Jerry Jones was not looking to part ways with him. His intention was to hold on to him. He exhausted every option to make that happen, understood? Now, the frustration people had wasn't simply about the trade occurring. It was about the way it all played out. Because let's be honest, Jones received a strong package of assets in return, particularly when you compare it to the other deals and potential deals that were being discussed at the time, whether we're talking about Max Crosby, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore. And we'll have to wait and see regarding A.J. Brown. So, no. But here's the thing, we genuinely don't need to keep examining this situation through the lens of Micah Parsons. He is no longer a member of the Dallas Cowboys. That chapter is closed. It's finished. It's history. Done and dusted. Goodbye. See you. It's finished. Let me say this again, I believe they had an outstanding draft, especially now that we're able to look back at it in its entirety. Obviously, their mindset was clear, defense, 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 defense. Right? They were completely committed to saying, we have to repair this defense. We must fix this defensive unit. Over and over again. As for me, at this stage, because I've already uploaded a video praising everything the Dallas Cowboys accomplished from a draft perspective, what this ultimately boils down to is this: how swiftly can you bring these new defensive players up to full speed? Eli's people are talking about Lawrence as a potential reach, and so on and so forth. And the real question is, how quickly can you integrate everyone into their proper defensive roles? And position these guys to thrive? How fast can you raise the level of this defense? Not even optimize it completely, just elevate it. And here's another question mark: can Shanahan and Dak Prescott sustain the momentum they generated last season? Because that remains an open question as well. You see, whenever you bring in a new quarterback, whenever you have a new coach, defensive opponents aren't entirely sure what your scheme will look like. And very often, we witness a first-year effect. The classic example is when a rookie has a strong debut season, and then people say, well, now that defenses have tape on him, it's a variation of that theme. A close relative. So the key is simply this: as long as they can maintain that momentum, continue that improvement, perform even better, show more consistency, while also fielding a defense that isn't a weak link, then you've got something. Right? And that was my main point. And since he brought up Micah, I'll repeat my take on Micah for the 10,000th time. My biggest criticism was never about moving on from Micah, it was about the timing. If he had done it earlier, you would have already had a draft like this one a full year ago. And by now, you'd have your talent pool going into next season, year 2, fully ready to go. Then you add this draft T-class on top. You would have a real foundation to build upon. Instead, what the Dallas Cowboys are currently trying to do is build the foundation from scratch, rather than building upward from an existing one. It's like this: the Cowboys are ready to win right now. The moment is now. The time to push hard is now. There's a strong chance that George Pickens might only be here for this single year, and then that's it, it's over. And George Pickens was excellent for the Dallas Cowboys. Which is precisely why last year represented a squandered opportunity. This year, you'd better hope the defense can genuinely compete and perform at a high level, because then the Dallas Cowboys as a whole can truly compete and be great. If not, if there are still some lingering issues, if there are still vulnerabilities and growing pains, and you say, hey, we took a significant step forward, but we're not all the way there yet, well, the offense might look very different by year 3. Dak is getting older, CD is getting older, George Pickens might no longer be around, and so forth. Right? Things shift. Circumstances evolve. So, my entire argument has always centered on the timeline, the timeline, the timeline. The Dallas Cowboys are not structured to dominate for the next 10 years. That's not the timeline they're operating on. Just look at the aggressive moves the LA Rams are making. Their attitude is, we're pushing all our chips in to win immediately. And they went out and acquired Jenst, priority defensive talent. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And, you know what? It's working out well. It makes sense. Therefore, there's enormous pressure on these draft picks to deliver. The Philadelphia Eagles also adopted somewhat of a split mindset back in 2024. They focused heavily on defense in the draft, but also made a few key free agent signings. Still, in many ways, it wasn't a conventional all-in swing. They needed to hit home runs, and they did. Without that, they don't win the Super Bowl. People don't always realize how quickly those players were brought up to speed, and how much of a wow factor there was, like how Bond suddenly turned into an elite-level defender. No one really saw that coming. Sure, you could imagine that if Angio is going to get the best out of Darius Slay at the tail end of his career, and with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Jalen Carter, and so on, yeah, that's all par for the course. But making Zach Bond work, Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Blankenship, right? Elevating all of that to the absolute highest level, you have to stick the landing. Without it, again, you don't win the Super Bowl. So it becomes a very fine line. A narrow margin. And that's exactly what it comes down to for the Cowboys right now. It's not just about whether you think Lawrence was a bit of a reach. It's that you truly could win it all this coming season, because that's what matters. The question is, does he end up being a monster? By week 4, you want to be saying, yeah, this is the guy. This is him. This defense is awesome right now. This defense is the kind where quarterbacks have nowhere to throw, and they've got all of 0.7 seconds in the pocket. So it's going to be really interesting this season. It's going to be very, very, very interesting, and I just think the pressure is on. To me, it's clear, you are in absolute win-now mode. Win-now mode. Things will change for the Cowboys over the next couple of years. They will. Money will be owed in other places. And so you do have a certain luxury, even having someone as great as George Pickens in the role you have him in. And again, that goes a long way. A really long way. So if you hit on these picks, and not just hit on them, but they can make an immediate impact right away, it's impossible to overstate how huge that opportunity is. If not, then to me, it remains a massively enormous missed opportunity. Because of how the trade unfolded, and when it took place, etc., etc. Because then you've essentially burned 2 years. You've wasted 2 seasons. And when you're at the point where you are with this team, with your quarterback, on this timeline, that's simply not acceptable. That's not okay in my book. But those are just my opinions. I would genuinely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Dallas Cowboys? Are you guys tired of talking about Micah Parsons? I mean, seriously, are you all over the discussion about Micah Parsons? I feel like they talk about Micah and the Cowboys more than T. Hey, talk about A.J. Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles. And A.J. Brown is on the Philadelphia Eagles. And boy, do we know how much they love talking about A.J. Brown and the Eagles. So, let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So do you agree with me or disagree? Either way, let's start some discussions. Let's get into some debates. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you as part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something we're truly excited to belong to. I think we're well on our way to doing that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.